Hello, welcome to True Hoop with me, Jarod, Hector, and Coach David Thorpe. How are you, sir? Good, no complaints. David, we are at the 25, 26 game mark. So we're starting to see some signs, some early season trends, things not looking good for some teams. And we'll have some interesting content coming out around that a little bit later. But I wanted to start with Nikola Jokic, world's best player. He has been on quite a tear recently in his last 5 games, averaging 39 points, almost 15 boards, almost 9 assists, almost 3 steals a game. But the Nuggets are just 2-3 in those 5 games. We were concerned about the Nuggets to start the season, mainly around the play of Jamal Murray. He's done nothing to assuage us of those feelings through 20-something games thus far. He's actually injured right now. And something interesting happened a couple of days ago on the floor. Aaron Gordon tried to get his teammates over together in a huddle to talk about something, missed his defensive assignment, something they weren't doing, what have you. But Murray sort of refused to come over and join the group. Could mean nothing. Could be an underlying sign of things to come. First, David, let's start with Jokic. Just how incredible is he?
I have to say. Like it's so obvious. He's he's just a magnificent gift to all of us that like basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I've compared him to Mozart before. He really is. He's just a really tall version of Mozart. Just really beyond amazing. Yeah. He's one of the rare players that when I'm talking to players before they play Denver, I have to remind them that he's more dangerous when he doesn't have the ball. I'm sorry. He's more dangerous when your man doesn't have the ball.
Correct.
And he does have the ball.
Yes.
He also is very dangerous without the ball. Also because he knows how to gut, kind of tiptoe into the lane and all that kind of stuff. But when your man doesn't have the ball, you have to be really on your guard when he does because of his gift as a passer. So, yeah, there's nothing he can't do. He's shooting threes. He fakes and attacks and his touch around the rim is just so spectacular. It's absurd.
So in control right now. We talked about it last week.
Easy.
He could win his 4th MVP, and that would put him on a short list, right?
Yeah.
But one of my fears I had, David, was, well, if he's got to do all this heavy lifting all season long, what's he going to have come the postseason?
Well, hold on. I don't want to leave this one thought. You just said something about 4 MVPs. What's the most MVPs won by a non-American born or non-American raised player?
Oh, God.
Dirk has 1. Giannis has 2.
Giannis and Tim Duncan? Probably. Because they both have 2.
Virgin Islands part of the American Empire? I'm just asking.
I mean,
so he was born outside the American shores. He did college in America for 4 years.
Correct.
We Americans have some semblance of ownership over Tim Duncan. We got nothing on Jokic, right? He's employed here. That's
correct. We got nothing on Jokic.
So best foreign-born player ever, right?
Oh, easy already. I mean, that's not even he's already
again. Tim Duncan deserves. He wasn't born in the American continental U.S. whatever. Right. So, because if we just remove that aspect of it, let's just say best non-American ever.
Yes, for sure. Easy.
Yeah, right.
Not even a debate.
How to be? Like, it's not even close.
Nope. And that's all due respect to Dirk, and like it's just not a thing. And respect to Giannis too. It's not close. Like
nope. He's the best. All right, so thank you. Want to make sure we got that clear. Now we can talk about another non-American born player who went to school for 1 year in America.
Look, we talked about the injuries the last several years that have hurt his lower extremities, but I don't know if we can draw a parallel to what's going on with Tyrese Halliburton. Maybe we can. And it's just like these two young
both being bad players. Yeah, we can draw that parallel.
Yes. 2 young dynamic guards who are not dynamic right now at all. And there is no sign, David, that they are on the verge of becoming dynamic again.
I would argue on Tyrese's side that there have been signs, but they just never take. He'll have a good road performance, which is very rare this year. And then the next game sinks like a ship. He has... last night at home, I'm pretty sure he broke into tears a few times or close to it.
Yeah, this is Halliburton we're talking about, not Murray. This one's Halliburton.
Yeah, against Charlotte, right. Jamal Murray has not shown those signs. I agree with you on that. I mean, he's had decent games. It's not the same thing as a reminder of, I mean, remember, he was always just a borderline all-star anyway. There's no borderline there. He's not close. He's not in the same universe. And, you mentioned the not joining the group, which I think is an insightful observation. Listen, we're a small group at True Hoop, and I'm sure I get on your guys' nerves all the time. Yeah, I'm not the quiet type that you guys are. Intelligence and tacit respect for others is not one of my suits like you guys. And so this is a big group, and so you could argue over the course of some years that they get on each other's nerves some. One thing I'm always amazed at, even this morning, watching Steve Kerr talk about his Warriors, and yes, they have Lindy Waters and obviously Buddy Hield's new, and they've got some new guys, and Podziemski is just second year, but it's been largely the same core going back a good number of years, including even with Looney, 9-10 years in the league, and yet they somehow seem to be managing okay. They're going through a tough streak now, lost some games they should have won, a lot of them actually. I give them great credit. It's really hard to do. And Denver hasn't been together nearly as long, nor have they been nearly as successful. And so maybe we are seeing some fraying. Or it could also be just a bad moment where Jamal was just pissed at himself, understandably so. So I did a little research, though, on some of their problems. Not Jamal Murray necessarily,
but just problems in general.
Excluding their center. There's no problems.
No, he's fine.
So one of the things I always look at first when a team is struggling defensively, and they're 18th in defense, which is not terrible, it's bad, below average. All right. Is I try to see, how are they doing with the easy stuff, which is not so much about personnel as about execution of strategy and sometimes even strategy. They're 16th in opponent free throw attempts, so below average. So average is 15. Not the worst, but not great. They're giving up the last 10 games where they're 5 and 5. Okay. They are 26th in opponent fast break points. Okay, bottom 5, bottom 4, bottom 5. Yeah. All right, that's a problem. Guys, we got to get back on defense. We got to make them face the teeth of our defense, 5 on 5 as much as possible. They're 25th, so bottom 6 in opponent points in the paint. That's a choice. The Charlotte Hornets are very good at protecting the paint with really no one to do it. That's a strategy. We are going to make you beat us from the cheap seats, in a sense. We are going to err on the side of protecting the paint, protecting the rim, blah, blah, blah. So Denver's not great in that. And they're 30th in second chance points allowed last 10. So getting murdered on the glass, giving up a lot of paint shots, those do connect, but not always, because second chance points are also threes, kick out threes. Bottom 5 in fast break points allowed, and 16th in free throw attempt. So let's foul less. Let's race back better. Let's protect the paint more. And let's everyone get on the defensive backboards at all times. Those 4 things, I'd be shocked that their defense wouldn't rise up into top 13, top 14. Okay, now we're talking because their offense has been good.
Yes.
Even without Jamal. So those are solvable problems, in my opinion, anyway.
But when you are Jamal Murray and you are struggling offensively, can you help with these problems defensively?
Well, I think you know the answer to that, and I think that's a way to solve the offensive problem. This is my own personal philosophy. I don't suggest that I've got it scientifically based, other than it's what I do for my clients, and it seems to work a lot, if not almost always. And that is find ways to help your team by impact winning every way you can, separate from scoring. I believe that shooting is very much derived from a rhythm and confidence that a player has. And I think that positive contributions to winning impact the way a player emotionally feels about how he's playing. And I think that translates into having more confidence when you shoot, despite missing previous shots or more than you want anyway. So I'm a big believer, and is what I stress to my guys: find ways to impact winning every chance you get, diving on the floor, taking charges, blah, blah, blah. And I think you end up shooting better because of it, not to mention shot selection, all of that. Yep. But you asked me about Jamal. So yeah, Jamal, take more pride in these other aspects, foul less, get back on defense more, help on the defensive backboards better, and help pinch in the paint more. And probably will solve some defensive problems for your team. You'll feel better about your contributions, and maybe your offensive game will come back as well.
Yep. I agree with you 100% on that. Find ways to make winning plays. It'll give you confidence, give your team confidence. And again, you have that guy in the middle at center running your offense. It'll always be an elite offense just because he's there, just by nature of his presence. So everything else will work itself off of that, and you can start cutting to the basket and
his
all
passing,
that.
His gravity, his touch, his shooting, his IQ.
Yep.
What you said is right. You're going to have a top 10 offense just with him. You can have 4 below average players, and he'll make them all at least average.
Exactly. Yeah,
really
I'm with you there. So 2 years ago, you wrote that the Bucks should trade Giannis now, or at the time, because
last season.
Last season,
maybe last preseason.
That was the right thing to do. Are you at that stage now with the Nuggets and Nikola Jokic? You're like, guys, this might, because he's 29 and is in his peak right now.
Yeah.
And again, I'm saying this assuming that, again, Murray has not shown me that we're going to start trending up again and be all right. I love Michael Porter Jr., but I'm also okay to admit that he hasn't shown the heights that he did in that 2020, 2021 season. Like, he just hasn't. So do you say, because who else has value that you can get stuff back if you move on that roster? No one would want Jamal Murray now.
Right now, no, I don't think. But we can find a sucker. It seems just the reality of it, right? Always, there's a lot of players I thought would never get traded. Got traded. No, I don't think they should trade Jokic today or tomorrow. I don't think they should trade him this season. I think that they should give it this season. Now, there's other variables I don't know about. The whole point of it is to avoid the request for a trade, publicly or privately. Because no matter what, if he does it privately, word's going to get out, at least within the league. And that's going to lower his value to some degree. That doesn't mean they can't get great value. They could, probably, and would. But you don't want that.
Right.
So to me, you get out ahead of the game. And that would be following the season. If they don't generate what they need to generate and they get to where they need to, at least second round of the playoffs, third round would be amazing. Obviously, if they can make the finals, even better. That doesn't happen. Yeah, I would meet with him. And now if he says, guys, I'm all in. I'm not in this fucking crazy country of America. I like Denver just fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring some horses over here. I got plenty of land there.
All good.
I know I'm looking for a property there. So there's plenty of land.
Plenty of land.
Horses. We won't. So yeah, if that happens, just keep them.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, and you're a little worried, which I would be if I was them, yeah, then in the off season, let's go ahead and see what we can get for all of our guys and kind of restart.
Yeah,
but we're a long way from that now.
We are.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it because again, Denver's never going to have a player as good as Jokic again in their franchise history, more than likely, right? So he's already 29. And so, you want to keep the window open, try to win some more titles, right? That's hopefully the goal. So if you think you can, okay, great. But if you're already starting to feel like, we don't know because we got so much money tied up in Murray and MPJ, then we got to do what we got to do, right?
Well, I like what you said. Denver's not going to have someone better than him in their franchise. So let's go through it. Have the Knicks even had someone better than Pat Ewing?
No.
Probably not. Have the Bulls Have the Bulls had someone better than Jordan?
No.
We know that's not the case. Yeah. Has Milwaukee ever had someone better than Kareem? No. Giannis?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take Giannis as the second best. They've had some other good players. Great. Portland with Dame, Bill Walton.
All right.
For a couple of years anyway.
Yeah.
These world's best players, you just don't get a lot of them over the course of decades, right? Kareem was in the Milwaukee in the
60s.
early 70s.
Yeah.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 50 plus years. So, yeah, I think that this is as good as you're going to get, Denver. for any of your lifetimes anyway.
Yeah, anyone who's
Yeah.
currently part of this group now, yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even if you're just a fan, if you're 10,
Yeah.
maybe when you're 60.
You'll see
I mean,
some of this.
I'm not even trying to be funny.
No, you're right. You're right.
He's just, and the chances aren't great you'll even get that. Yeah. Who's well, we know the Heat's best player was LeBron. There's a
Right.
few teams that LeBron's always been number one.
Yes.
Like Orlando had Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they never had
Dwight Howard.
Penny.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Dwight was really good, but he was never that kind of player.
Right.
It's just hard. I mean, that's the privilege of having Jokic.
Yes.
And I do.
Yes.
It's funny. I was thinking about him today, not knowing you were going to bring this on. I have made some comments about. I'm not so impressed that Tim Connolly. Drafted him in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
I am impressed with what Denver's done with him.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they embraced him and got rid of Nurk.
Mm-hmm.
That showed some foresight.
For sure.
That they bent over backwards to build around him. Mm-hmm. Denver's done a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as Mike Mullen's not my favorite coach, he's not the worst coach in the league, not by a long shot. And they've got one championship and a couple good seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that there is an absolute possibility that he's the best they're going to get, and so you gotta give it every chance possible. But based on the structures of MPJ's and Jamal's contracts, and the fact that they don't have really anyone. I mean, Christian Brown's having a good year.
He is, yeah.
But they're a long way.
Yeah.
I think they're a long way from contending with some of the other best teams.
I agree with you. And again, all this can change if for some reason both Murray and MPJ can sustain periods of elite play that we've seen them have in the past.
Yeah.
The question is, can they? And right now, I don't know. Right? That's the most hopeful answer I can give is I don't know if they can do that.
No one knows.
Yeah. So with Denver, we're not quite at panic meter yet, but it had me thinking, what teams are pressing the panic button now? Are like, all right, we're about 26 games into the season. We're not where we thought we'd be. I have some concerns. The first thing on my list, David, is the Indiana Pacers. If you remember when we started the season, we did our preview shows. I was so hyped on Indiana because of their run to the conference finals last year. And I said, how they come out the gates, their first 10 to 15 games will tell me something. Now, they've had injuries to deal with, which of course matters because I was looking at it like the Hawks situation from a few years ago. When they made the conference finals and they started the next season terribly, Trae Young was like, oh, it's hard to get up for regular season games when you've accomplished what we have. I was like, you've been to one conference finals. What do you mean accomplish what we have? Like, you went there once, my guy, and haven't been back since. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean what we've accomplished? So I said, okay, will the Pacers get so comfortable with themselves and do the thing, or will they come out hungry? And so their problem isn't so much that the team isn't hungry, much like Jamal Murray, their star player whom their offense is built around, Tyrese Halliburton, again, as we mentioned before, has not shown signs of being that all-NBA player. And David, you said it a million times. If he's not that, this team's cooked. They are not. Can't do anything.
Yeah, no, they lost to Charlotte last night, and both he and Siakam played poorly. And but in Pascal's case, mostly he's been their best player by far this year. In Tyrese's case, it's been just a hot mess. He's had moments of, all right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a fun guy to watch when he's making shots and making passes. But mostly, he's not been doing that. And his defense now, I just looked it up, 6th percentile in defensive EPM.
Not great.
Last night, it was whoever's guarding Tyrese, get him in the ball screen. Because they had Nembhard guarding Brandon Miller very effectively all game. And as soon as they were able to get Andrew off of him, it was ugly. And then on a couple of times, it was just Tyrese's man who still found a way to score, even if he wasn't guarding Brandon on the switch. They can't hide him on defense. Offensively, I don't know what they seem lost. They still are dealing with the injury issue hugely. But again, it doesn't really matter so much if he's just average. And you could argue he's been in many cases below average.
Yes.
I look at EPM. He has a very high offensive number. I don't have any faith in that stat right now.
Yeah.
Because to me, he's not been that guy. 33% from three, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously a gifted passer. Doesn't cut very much. Doesn't get in the lane very much. Doesn't get to the rim very much. Doesn't get free throws very much. Not shooting well. Like it's all ugly. And his body language is like a common thing to see in a Pacers game is Tyrese with his head in his hands.
Not good.
It's like the sky is falling. It's just Yeah, Rick Carlisle's got his working out for him. Miles Turner's been bad. They have no backup centers. I'm sure they're going to trade for one, but they have one none now. Nemhart just came back. That's going to help them a lot. Mathurin is just not a starting level player in the NBA still.
Mm-hmm.
He's also young, but it's not there. He can score some, but it comes at a cost of a lot of things. He's a net negative to me. He's also just an energy sucker. He's a ball stopper on an offense that's supposed to flow. All trends in a negative direction, and but Tyrese returning to form changes everything.
For sure.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
You mentioned his EPM. Looking at his box plus minus numbers. The last 2 years, he was +7 in offensive box plus, Liam. He's +3 this year. Yeah. And defense, he's -1.5. So in total box plus minus, he's just at a 1.5, which is fine for a run-of-the-mill player in the league, but not for the team who your whole offense is built around.
Not that ain't $50 million a year.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got to be so pissed that the voters of all NBA chose to just give it to him. He's a good guy. He did not deserve it last year. When you're bad for half a season, I don't care how good you are the first half. He was bad.
Yeah,
he was bad, and he's not gotten better. I have a lot of faith. He's 24.
Right.
A lot of faith that he can turn it around, but he got hurt January 9, I want to say. So we're looking 11 months plus now at him being this guy.
Yeah.
And in a month, it'll be 12 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a concern. I'm sure a real concern. Panic is the right word. They got to be panicking and writing those checks.
Yeah. If you're playing bad basketball for a full 12 months straight, like that's for sure very concerning signs. They are 5 games under 500 as a team right now. So, they got to figure some stuff out in Indiana. The Pelicans, another team, David, bitten by the injury bug. Brandon Ingram will be out. Zion has not even played the game this year.
Yeah,
early.
Yeah. He played.
See, it's been so long, I don't even recall. They are just brutal to watch, David. 5-20. It's just, this is not how they envisioned their year going, right? So now they got to be thinking, what are we even doing, right? Because again, they're dead last in the Western Conference. Forget about trying to make plans or whatever. Like, when do we say it's time to figure out the rebuild button here? Because I just don't. You're betting on Zion Williamson being healthy, and we have no evidence in the past. What year is this from? 4 or 5? In the past 4,
5, I think.
We have no evidence that suggests that is the thing that can happen.
No. I think they're more injured than anyone.
Yes.
I think they've missed more games. Maybe there's a stat out there that I'm not aware of, but I think they're probably leading it. They went into the season with one huge question mark separate from this, which was starting center. Yves Missy isn't the answer. He still isn't the answer. They don't really have an answer, in my opinion, for that spot. They could go get one. There are some good backups available. But with all the injuries they've had, him included, and now Brent Ingram's out.
Yes.
So they're cooked. Yeah, they're cooked. You hate to trade Davis and Zion, but in Davis's case, you failed him.
Right.
In Zion's case, he failed you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you had blame. I don't know the details of who's to blame for Zion's failures, but he's been a bust given his potential. He's just not been. An injury is the major story, but it is what it is. He's just not worked out.
As David, not just only a fan of the NBA, but someone that works in the league that with players in terms of player development, how disappointed are you in the Zion development story?
Very, and I don't have enough knowledge to know where to point the finger the most. People tell me it's on Zion and his team, family, agents, coaches. I don't know who they are. I'm not involved in that at all. But I'm told that it's their decision making that has led to a lot of the problems, going all the way back to his rookie season in Summer League, where they said, well, thank you for recommending what we should do, but we're going to do our own thing. It's always worked before. And I will tell you that I believe it. And not because I know anything about the Williamson family. I don't. Nothing. I've been doing this a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now at an age where I met with a family, for example, this past weekend, both in person and then virtually, that they've asked me to kind of oversee the development of their child who's a very, very high level prospect. He's still a young high school player. Got a chance to be like, let's put it this way. Scottie Pippen, Scotty Barnes are people they claim he could be like. Yeah, I've seen him on film. He's pretty electric. And so I had to tell, and the mom was on the call yesterday on the virtual call, like, I'm going to give you some guidance, and you can choose not to listen to it, and then I can also choose not to work with you anymore. Like, I'm going to give you really good advice. Y'all don't know a damn thing about this, and they agree because they came to me, so they know, and the dad played professional basketball.
Right.
You know what? He might have stopped in college. I don't remember. But that is not the norm. I deal with parents who think they know everything and have thought that before. And I just step away in that situation.
Well, I was going to say, knowing you as well as I do, if a parent comes to you and like they know everything, then you're like, well, why are you calling me then? What am I doing here?
I literally said, why are you calling me on the phone? You have all the answers. Yeah. And here's the thing. I know more than you, and I know I don't have all the answers.
Right.
I have ideas.
Right.
I have some evidence that we can follow. I know some paths we can take.
Right.
I know some pivots we should probably consider. But it's not always so cut and dried. It's hard.
Yes.
And so when you think you got it all figured out, good luck with that. That's what I say. I have said that before. I think I've told the story once. I hope this player makes the NBA, but I met with the player, and I met with his dad, actually, after turning them down to help them. And the dad was upset. I said, listen, I gave you agents to consider, not one, agencies. You turned them down. I gave you colleges. This is a high school kid, high level, that I think would be a great fit and also great coaching, whatever. You turn them down. And this ain't baseball. There's no third strike.
Right.
So I didn't tell you which college to choose, which agent to choose.
Right.
I gave you a basket.
Right.
You chose to go to a different basket twice. There's no third one for me.
Right.
Good luck with it. I'm rooting for him. He's an amazing kid.
Right.
And very sweet people. There's enough out there where I can go look at other people who value what I have to say.
Yeah.
And in the case of the Pelicans, from what I understand, it has not gone well when they've made recommendations to that family, and that includes the agent. Start to the agent, really. And so, terribly, terribly, terribly disappointed, because I thought he was absolutely a guaranteed Hall of Fame talent.
You wrote you thought MVP potential
by his year 3. His feel for the game. Remember, this is a guy that loves to pass and can dunk on everybody and finish around the rim. Amazing touch around the rim. Could handle it. Could actually shoot okay when he was coming out of college. Seemed to be a great teammate. Like, remember that video of the little white kid that was guarding him?
Yeah.
Like, they became friends.
Yeah.
So there was a humility aspect to him, a humbleness that I liked. It's just, I don't know. And I've talked to some insiders who think that David Griffin's going to be okay and Willie Green's going to be okay because they did everything they could. If they were just fought tooth and nail, and then also all the other injuries also have just wrecked them. The Dyson Daniels move, I don't think that was wise. I don't really remember the whole story, but he looks pretty damn good.
He's loving life in Atlanta right now.
Yeah. So I like those guys. I like Willie and I like David Griffin a lot. The Davis thing, they failed. Yeah, the franchise failed. But in this case, I don't blame the New Orleans people.
And this is the problem, folks, when you draft a superstar player and for whatever reason, he and his team of people, David mentioned, aren't in line with doing the right things necessary to make you succeed. Right. Because now you are on the hook with that anchor of a contract. And remember, they rookie max extended him when they probably shouldn't have. Right. And so now, great, you're stuck now. Maybe again, we always say it only takes one team. I'm sure there's some team out there convinced themselves that if we get him in here, it'll be better. It's a big splash for us. Our fans will buy tickets. And maybe that's the case. And that's how New Orleans gets off this deal. But it's a shame. It's really, really a shame.
It's a shame. And to be fair, this is not unique to basketball players. No. Nor is it unique to athletes. The halls of bars in seedy bars in rundown towns all over this world are filled with people who have the potential to spend much better time elsewhere and just for whatever reason got in their own way. Now, there's no question that in the case of these top level athletes, they have a lot more people looking to help than the average person who's on their own and stumbles because they can't do it on their own. He's been given every opportunity, and maybe one day he will. And again, he's also injured. I think they call it hamstring now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know the details of it, but it's to your point. Your overarching point is, when do they press the button, boop, and start shipping guys out, because they already have a bunch of picks. They can give a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
OKC is the model, but and against my best judgment, they built it around SGA, who was willing to stick around, and look what's happened. New Orleans doesn't have that.
Right.
They don't have that one guy to say, okay, we have this amazing piece who's young, because Zion we can't trust it. That he'll be there. Otherwise, he'd be fine to build around.
Yeah.
But they don't have that. So they're really going to have to start over.
Yeah. A team we talked about last week, you wrote about them, the Lakers. They have a LeBron problem. And we said, okay, do you move Anthony Davis, figure out what you're doing there? Like the Lakers, we said on our content call this morning, they have a lot of pieces on that team that other teams would want, right? Austin Reeves, etc. I mean, there's just
D'Angelo
guys.
Russell is playing really well.
There are guys who can play. So if you are the Lakers right now, are you thinking, is it time to hit the panic button? Because are you like, where we got so much money invested in LeBron, and we know that he can't play these heavy minutes and do what we need him to do on both ends of the floor?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if panic's the right word, but they're in some serious trouble. Yeah. They got destroyed the other day. Was it, who beat them badly? Atlanta?
Oh God, Atlanta. Yeah. No. Did they beat Atlanta badly? Let me pull it up.
Who did they just get destroyed by?
Let me see. They got destroyed. Oh yeah, the Hawks beat them. No, it wasn't a bad beating. The Heat beat them pretty badly, really badly.
That was the one, really badly. Yeah. I mean, I just don't know if they're going to pivot off of those two superstars. And AD was a month into it, he looked like he might be the MVP. Yeah. LeBron, we write about LeBron. He has a great triple-double the other night. And to me, that proves my point, which is he's still great sometimes. This is what happens when you get older.
Yes.
Is you just can't do it very much. So you could argue, well, if he was this guy, then it's everyone else's fault. Well, no, then why does he have such negative numbers all the other games? This is just, I argued that he's lost some motivation now that he's already played with Bronny, who, by the way, had 16 points and 16 and 4 the other day.
Oh.
That was his career high. Now, let me tell you, you have to take the G League with a grain of salt. I'm not being disrespectful of their talent at all, but they just don't know how to play. And so 16 is it's a very modest number. I've got guys that will score 30 and I yawn because they should score 30 or more. There's someone had 51 the other day. I don't remember the player's name, but it was a player I never really heard of before at 51 points. I think 51, maybe it was 41. Whatever, it was a lot of points. But still, that's better. You want career highs? That's a good. Now let's do it again. Let's get to 21 or 22, whatever. But I don't know that LeBron's got what it needs, the spirit that he needs, and AD. They just seem to be. I don't think they're going to do anything short term either. Right. We're not at December 15. They got till February 9 or 10 to see what they can do. Reeves is out right now, which hurts. He was playing well. But yeah, they've got pieces that I think would bring a lot back. I don't know if they'll build around anyone but Dalton Connect maybe. Yeah. But I wouldn't be married to Dalton Connect either.
Of course, yeah.
Someone's willing to pay for him. If they really wanted to start over, they could.
Yep, I agree. No, that makes total sense. All right, we'll keep an eye on these teams to see if anything's changed, and I'm sure there'll be other teams adding to the panic meter before too long. All right, folks, we'll be back after this brief commercial break. All right, David, you wanted to highlight the Dallas Mavericks as your hot team of the week, the last couple weeks. They're 11-1 in the last 12. 9-1 in the last 10.
12.
Yep. 5 wins against good teams. Memphis, OKC, the Knicks, Nuggets, and the Hawks. Only loss was in Miami in overtime. Good stuff that you're seeing from Dallas right now.
Yeah, I like. So Luka's Luka.
No, yeah.
Kyrie's Kyrie. Okay, that goes without saying, right? I didn't look up Clay's numbers, but I think he's shooting really well.
I think he's shooting well. Let me pull him up now.
Yeah. Look that up for me. I think he's shooting well. They've got PJ Washington led him in scoring one game in the last 12.
He looked really good.
Najee Marshall did it twice.
Clay's okay, 36% from 3.
Yeah, That's all you need from him.
Yeah.
He's got gravity.
Mhm.
Lively. Look at it. Read his numbers. I don't have it in front of me as a starter. When he's played the last 2 seasons.
Lively.
I got it.
You mean their win numbers, their win totals?
Yeah.
14-5 this year,
Right.
35-20 last year,
Right.
49-25, which is a 54 win season.
Yeah. So 40-25, based on my math, is
Mhm.
a 54 win season, and he was just a rookie last year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's encouraging.
Yes.
So they've got those guys in their prime. Kyrie a little bit out of his prime. Najee entering his prime. PJ entering his prime.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes one of those guys come off the bench. Typically Najee, but not always. Because when PJ's out, or even sometimes if Clay was out, they could start Najee at the 3. Live is in year 2. Prosper, who did nothing last year and nothing this year, is suddenly looking like, okay, this guy comes in, even in just 4 or 5 minutes stints, impacts the game. Monster dunk, block shots, rebounds in traffic, deflections. He's 22, I believe. I think, maybe I'm wrong. I think he's still 22. So you've got guys in their prime. You've got a couple of veterans. And now you've got these young guys, Lively and Prosper, who both are second-year players. And you've won 11 of 12.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right, 11 of 12. Hey, this is, I mean, maybe Western Conference Finals last year.
Yep.
Can't ignore it. Can't ignore it. They've got a nice little runway to go forward and grow.
No, I love what I'm seeing out of Dallas. PJ Washington was someone to me who I was always like, man, is he any good? I remember seeing him in Kentucky. I was like, but he's already, I think he left after his junior year. I was like, yeah, he's a junior and he's still here. Is he really that good? Then he was in Charlotte and I was like, man, Charlotte stinks. But, it's always hard to judge a player in a bad environment. All of a sudden, you get here with ultimate floor raiser Luka, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy is awesome. Like, he's really good. And Prosper is 22 still, so super young.
Yeah, Lively is like 21. Yeah. So if you're looking at next 5 years, I've got Kyrie probably is going to be pretty good for at least 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
What is he, 32?
I don't even quite 32 yet. He might be just
I hope not.
30, 31. Let's see.
That'd be amazing.
Kyrie is, you're right, he is 32. God, why are these guys so much older than I think they are?
So he's got a couple of good years.
Mm-hmm.
Luka's right where he needs to be.
Yep.
He's got these young guys. I mean, they've got Gafford backing up Lively, who's been good on offense for them, finished around the rim. With PJ and Najee, Prosper, Lively. They got to replace Spencer Dinwiddie probably at some point.
Yep.
Jaden Hardy is one of my least favorite players in the league to watch, but he is a talented, throw the ball in the bucket kind of guy. I don't think he plays the right way and never has, and that's a problem for me. But there's a place for him on teams. He reminds me of a better Marcus Thornton from LSU who made it for the league a couple of years. Remember him?
Yep, sure
didn't last long. But if he's more of a Lou Williams, great. More Jamal Crawford, great. I don't think he's that. But still, they've got a lot to work with going forward.
Yep.
And I think the coaches I've said many times, but can't argue with what's happening right now.
No, and, they're playing well.
In a Wild West, I mean, they could knock OKC off when push comes to shove come this spring.
I mean, anytime, as I always say, if you can enter a series and have the best player on the floor, that means you have a chance to win. And that Luka, yes.
And they play defense. I think they're last 10 games, they might be number 1 in defense, actually.
Their defense has definitely been a lot better. I've really watched it. No, they're look, Luka, ultimate floor raiser, said it a million times. Like he is who he is, right? And so, and they went to the finals last year. So
and there's something else about them. It used to be when one of the young guys did something good, I felt like the Mavericks veterans didn't pay attention. And now when Lively and Prosper make a play, which they've made a lot, Lively more than Prosper, both of them have made plays. There's Luka and Kyrie leading the cheering.
That's good.
It's almost like they've realized, oh man, these motherfuckers can go. And so Prosper just didn't know how to play. He just didn't really have a role. I think he made his first 3 of the season, but he's only taken like 7 or 8. But he's making energy plays and Lively with the lob dunking and the defense and just growing as a player. I think Luka's realized, this is all I want is some athletes next to my skill guys. And Najee Marshall has been really good, which I thought he would be. And PJ Washington has been very good. I thought they would have a great defense. after the trade deadline last year, what I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Turned out it was their offense that jumped up first. And now, like I said, I think last 10 games, I think defense is number one. I had it on my computer, but I had to reset before we came
right
on.
now, it's their top 8 right now overall for the year. So in defense, or 8th.
Right, but if you look at top 10, I think they're number one. So, or top 3 anyway. So, yeah. Okay, Denver fighting, Golden State dropping because of all the tough games they've lost recently. Although I still think they have a chance to be better than I thought.
And they won last night against Minnesota. Yep.
I think Minnesota's playing much better. By the way, much better.
Mm-hmm.
But Dallas is right there.
Something you just mentioned, which I know you know a lot about. How hard is it for a young player to earn? Maybe respect's the wrong word, but to get that reaction out of an established superstar player like Luka and Kyrie, where they're up and cheering for you. I imagine it's pretty hard for a young player to do that.
Yeah, it's different for every superstar. Luka doesn't seem to be the best at that. But I did notice yesterday, I don't remember what it was. It was a couple of days ago, maybe. I saw Luka he had a vibe about him like, oh man, like that's not the Harden vibe that I've got from him. That's a better vibe. Winning's always great.
Always.
Yeah, winning's always solves problems.
The magic elixir.
Yeah, it really is. It's so true in life. When things are good, everything else is rosier too. Listen, my whole life's that way. I've never had the albatross of a bad marriage. I've had one marriage and it's been amazing. So everything's easy after that. So winning's the same thing in basketball. You figure out. So now the problems are cute problems. Like, oh, we got to rebound a little bit better. We can do that, right?
As opposed to losing 8 straight, where it's like, can somebody grab a fucking rebound down here?
Right. It just raises the level of stress and drama to everyone. So we'll see how they manage it. But if you're the Western team, that team's loaded, man. Because if those young guys keep getting better, that's a problem for everybody else. With Luka being the dynamic
such
monster
a force
murderer
multiplier.
That he is. Assassin,
it's just such a force multiplier. That dude's so good, man. Like, it's so crazy watching him play. That's exactly the right word. It is unfair. Yeah, certain guys want to play ball.
Yeah, that's a word I used the other day, not with Luka. I was talking to a young player about to play Milwaukee, and I sent him some clips on Dame racing around screens, stopping short if they run him over. But you have to chase him that way because he can actually make those shots. If you and the player said to me, it's just unfair. It's unfair that he can make the shots. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to chase so desperately. I had to tell the player that you got to give him a step to a step and a half to let him just go. So when he stops short, you can then if you let him go a step and a half, you can then veer under and then. If you try to chase him right off the screen, he'll stop short. You run into him.
Foul.
And that's when he said it's just unfair. Yeah. What do you do? If he couldn't make those shots, it wouldn't be so hard. Yeah, but he can't. Yeah. Those guys are just unfair.
Yeah, this game is hard as it is, and those players are part of the reason why they make it so difficult, right? Because it's just really impossible to stop them. Yeah. The NBA Cup has its knockout games this week, the quarterfinals. Exciting times. They will have the stage to themselves Tuesday and Wednesday. So, David, I thought we'd look at these games a little bit deeper and just do a little of a X's and O's diagram, if you will. The Magic are at the Bucks. Bucks are favored by 8.5 points. And, I was very excited for Orlando for this tournament because I'm like, they could be like Indiana last year, going on a nice little run. But I'm worried about them, David, because not only is Paolo out, but Franz Wagner also just got hurt. Now they really can't score. Like, they can guard, they can do that. But I just don't know if that's going to be enough although it is just one game. So maybe they get hot from three, everybody starts bombing away and, whatever. Yeah. But
it's really the case in professional sports, more so than other sports, where in any one game, you're dealing with the best of the best.
Right.
That being said, it would be a shocking.
Yeah.
What is Milwaukee favored by?
8.5.
And that would not be the case.
Yeah.
Even Franz was playing.
Right.
I think it'd be much more like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I don't follow odds in basketball, but I know in football it used to be 3 points automatically just being the home team.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like about right for basketball. Yeah, I don't. Orlando just not gonna be able to score. Milwaukee's just playing with energy.
Yeah, playing better.
They're playing much better, and they have a chip on their shoulder, which I love to see.
As they should.
And Middleton's back.
Yeah, and Middleton is back. Yes.
So he just needs minutes to. It's gonna take a while. He's been out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that of all the games, that's probably the worst game.
Yeah, I think so. That same night, the Mavericks at the OKC Thunder. We just talked about
There we
Dallas.
go.
This should
Yeah.
be an exciting game. Yes, there's no Chet Holmgren for Oklahoma City, but OKC is still
Hasn't been
favored.
for a while.
Yep, they're favored by 4.5 in that game because they're still a very good team. SJ is who he is. They can shoot threes. They got a bunch of young, talented players. What do you
They
like
really
in this
defend.
game? Mm-hmm.
They really defend, and they scramble. They defend with purpose. They get their hands into passing lanes. They make things tough. I happen to think Dallas is the better team right now. That doesn't mean they'll win the game, but I think the way Dallas is playing, and they'll have more solutions on Shea than vice versa.
Oh, yeah, correct. Yeah.
I think so. OKC loves to go small.
Mm-hmm.
Almost doesn't have a choice anyway. Jalen Williams is out, the Arkansas one.
Yep.
So they play Santa Clara version, the All-Star version, at the 4 a lot. Their system is great. They all know their roles. Everyone seems to contribute well. It's a truly amazing story. But Luka.
The size and you think Lively and Washington can really clean up on when they go small. And Gafford.
The lobs against to keep Luka from getting downhill requires more resources. That opens up the lob that they have. The size issue is going to be an issue as well.
Right.
They're at home.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good for OKC because Lou Dort's strong enough, physical, I think, to body up Luka, but he's 4 inches shorter than him. So
who is
Lou Dort? He'll just throw it over the top of him, right? Like he's got the.
Yeah, he doesn't even always start anymore.
Yeah,
they've got Cason Wallace, AJ Mitchell's playing great for them. Isaiah Joe's playing great for them. Kenrick Williams is playing. They're playing a lot of guys, and so they'll be rested more so than Dallas. Although Dallas has some cakewalks recently, which is good for their guys to get some rest.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be a great game.
That should be
like this would be a great Christmas Day game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Not that I'll be watching on Christmas Day, but that's a whole separate thing.
The Wednesday matchups: Atlanta at New York. New York favored by 7.5. We should hat tip to Atlanta. I thought they were going to be disaster all year and not be very good. They're not. They're playing much better than I thought they would. Knicks have.
What's their record right now?
They might be a game or two under 500, but they're like right. They're like in that. They're in the thick of things. Actually, a game above 13-12. They're good, man. They're playing good ball.
That's why I included them on the wins for Dallas. That's a good win over Atlanta. They're not pushovers. Yeah. And New York has been playing better though.
They're starting to find something defensively. They're starting to guard a little bit. Their offense has been great all season. They're finding some stuff.
Yeah, I think New York is gonna. I mean, they're the better team.
Yes, for sure.
And they also have a little edge about them now with the rough start and all of that.
Cat's been playing very well for them.
Yeah. It'll be fun to watch. I like that there's no other games.
Yeah,
so we can kind of focus on them.
And it's literally just one at a time too. It's like 7:30 or whatever, and then when that's done, you get the 9:30, whatever. Yep, I love it. Yeah. Last one is Warriors at Rockets. Houston favored by 2.5 in that game, which is probably just the home court deal.
Also, all the games are good except for the first one. I think. I left it Orlando. It's not Orlando's fault.
Right, they're just hurt.
And I like defense, so I don't mind that one. Golden State's played well, not finished well. Last night they finished well to beat Minnesota. Curry's experimented with some things. Started Looney the first game against Minnesota. Started Draymond the second game. Draymond came off the bench the first time. But still played Looney, I think, 21 minutes. Kind of got away from Trace Jackson Davis a little bit, which I think has been better for them.
Yep.
Buddy Hield, they got going.
Yep.
Steve Kerr talked about we got to get Buddy working well with Steph. And Steph made a couple of threes, one of which last night was just a classic, like, y'all forget who I am. He had kind of a cheeky look on him after was like, I'm Steph Curry. I do this kind of shit for a living.
I do this,
Houston, tough as nails.
Oh, my God.
But Golden State matches up well with them if everyone plays. And I would not be surprised if Golden State sneak in and get that win. Yeah. They're just so comfortable playing big games.
Yeah, they really are. And I wonder if Steve does if he shortens rotation a little bit just for this game, right? If he treats it like a playoff game a little bit and he's like, okay, let me kind of flex a little bit and show.
And the guys that may be upset about not playing won't be mad if they win because it's for money.
You got that right. $500,000 if you win the thing. So that's pretty good. David, the teams that didn't qualify that are all sitting around, this could be a good week for them. One, if you're
Huge.
injured, you got no games, so that gives time for guys to play. You don't get to lose games while your guys are getting healthy.
Yeah.
Two, if you're not so banged up and injured, or even if you are, you can kind of do a sort of mini camp this week a little bit to kind of work on some things that you got some issues with.
Mini camp.
When I say mini camp, I mean actually practice.
No. Yeah. I think it's a better chance for the coaches to meet. Okay, what isn't working well? What is the athletic department are doing this kind of stuff all the time, but now we can really do a deep dive into it and try to make some wholesale changes based on what's happening. That includes practice, where maybe you're trying different rotations, so you're playing different groups as a group, as a fivesome together. The best thing is, I was talking to a player last night. I had recommended to a player, like, I think you're tired. I think you need to take some days off. No, we got to win these games. And I'm stupid because I didn't look at the schedule. He's got, they're all off a bunch of days now. So, they can take a couple of days and mental health day, physical health day.
Yep.
Come back on Tuesday, Wednesday, and they'll be fine I think most games are back on Friday.
Yeah. Yep.
I think, games are Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. So, that's what I think. I think it's a beautiful break that they get in December, then they get another one in February. That's nice. Except for the teams that are winning.
Well, but winning has its own, rewards to it, right? So you're happy you're advancing and moving on. Now, I think some teams, as David said, smart teams are probably figuring out, as you said, what's not working. Again, because we have a good sample size now. We got 26 games or so. So you have evidence
more than a quarter of the season.
What's not working and what is working and what can we scale and what can't we scale. So I'll be curious to see what happens. We mentioned Franz being hurt for Orlando. That's a tough break for them. Brandon Ingram, we talked about as well. Evan Mobley also just got hurt for the Cavs, and they just lost.
What happened to him?
Was it oblique for Evan Mobley? Let me see. Evan Mobley.
I don't remember.
Ankle.
I didn't know that he got hurt.
Ankle in the loss to the Heat. The Heat, by the way, have been putting together a nice little run of wins here, sneakily. And for the Cavs, that's only their fourth loss, I believe, of the season. Let me pull it up. Yes, only lost number 4. So my prediction that they may not lose 5 games before Christmas. We're looking in jeopardy now because we got about 2.5 weeks until Christmas, and they might lose again before then. But still playing awesome basketball. All right, I want to give a couple shout outs before we get to David's Get Off My Lawn segment this week. Luka, first, shout out to the point guard, Chris Paul, for moving into second place on the all-time assist list, passing Jason Kidd. We've sung Chris Paul's praises a million times in this podcast. One of the great point guards of all times, great players generation, one of the great winners in the history of the NBA. Like, you people who only care about championships, like I don't know what your problem is. Like, this dude is fucking awesome at basketball, and to be able to dominate the game they say he's 6'1", maybe with shoes on. Like, to dominate the game at that size is incredible. Like, so kudos to Chris Paul for that. Luka moved into 7th on the all-time triple-doubles list, passing James Harden and Wilt Chamberlain. And Jokic has moved into 3rd on the all-time triple-doubles list, passing Magic Johnson. We got some special players in this league, man. We got some
we have a lot of talent. A lot of talent.
All right, David, what has got you fired up today?
What was my last one? Do you remember?
We did the college one. We did the... Was it a fan thing about stadiums? Oh, yeah. Don't say the guy is from Kentucky when he went there for like 2 days. Like,
Watching these games, especially the G League in college, more so in the NBA, but it happens in the NBA too. The amount of bad shots with lots of time on the clock is really an epidemic. They're chasing money. College is chasing NIL. G League's chasing the promotion. You're only hurting yourself. And I wish our coaches did a better job. Like, in high school, I would just sub you out. Yeah, I'm not going to sub. Once I grew up, I didn't sub you out for a turnover. I didn't sub you out for a missed shot ever.
Right.
I'm going to take you out for a selfish shot. And we don't do that anymore in professional sports anyway. And I think it's wrong. I think too many times guys are taking circus shots. If they make it, it's highlight. But they don't typically make it.
Right.
80% of the time they miss. And it's just bad. Bad for the team, bad for basketball. We need to empower our coaches to coach and teach players. Or if you're not going to take them out, just tell them to do it again, then you're coming out. Coach them up a little bit. I don't see that happening. And so we just have too many bad shots. And it's going to get worse as NIL rises in college. These players are being they're being taught that's reinforcing bad behavior, which means we got to really coach them out of it in the NBA. Our coaches don't do a lot of coaching that way. And so maybe then they'll sit them on the bench, which is what they need. They'll guarantee you'll get back. Yeah, you don't want to get demoted. So I'd like to see better shot selection for our teams. And it's not chucking threes. I'm fine with threes. Right. I just want them open. That's all. I want shots to be open. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you will for sure see that in games. Just like you're like, what was your thought process in that shot selection, right? Like you just no passing, no nothing, just come down and it's like, oh my God, crazy stuff happening. No, it's something that I think, yeah, again, can coaches be empowered in the professional ranks to coach players? And that's a tough sort of thing to navigate, right? Yeah. Because superstars got a lot of power and influence. And so you can't upset them, right? That's as much as like, the owner, yeah, they matter. But if the superstar's pissed at you, none of that's really going to matter, right? You're out. So really, really tough line to draw in pro sports. All right, folks, enjoy the NBA Cup games the rest of this week. And we'll be back Thursday and we'll let you know what's happening there. All right, everybody.